Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk Risk, where our goal is to connect, engage, and inspire each other as we build a global community of risk practitioners. I'm your host, Naveen Agarwal, and I'm super excited to welcome all of you. Thank you for joining. And guys, generally we talk about risk as a technical topic. We are all doing quality and risk in our professional lives. But today, we are so excited to address risk in a little bit more personal way. If you think about it, the biggest risk as an individual you have is about your career. And we know right now we are living through a very crazy time, very difficult time. So we're going to address that and the power of mentoring in managing your career, not just surviving, but thriving. And for that, I'm super excited to welcome my guest, Angelina Lisandrelli, today. She is a director of quality and regulatory at Philips, but previously she has held many positions in leadership at various companies, big names, global leaders. So she has seen it all. Angelina, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Naveen, so much for having me on this platform. It means a lot to me. In fact, it's kind of fulfilling one of my mentee goals as well.
So I want to start by asking you to share just a little bit of your personal journey. How did you get so interested and passionate about mentoring?
Thank you. I will say my mentoring journey has started from a very young age. I will say the one person who has changed my trajectory was my first mentor, and that's Mary Blakesley. She was my science teacher in high school, well, actually in junior high. And then I was fortunate enough to have her in ninth grade. And I come from two immigrant parents, and I'm Italian. If the name didn't give it away, let me just disclose that. But they never went to school really the way it's in the States. So at a certain point, I had to help out my family in the ninth grade, and they were taking me out of school to help work at the restaurant. Mary Blakesley put her job on the line to pull me into school and make sure that I continue my trajectory in science, because she saw a spark in me and she nurtured that spark. And I will say my life is owed to her from a first and foremost. But moving on from that, I have had the privilege and honor of multiple women in science support my career, from Dr. Boys. She was my chemistry teacher in high school. She really nurtured my love in high school about chemistry, and I graduated with a chemistry major. And Dr. Lillig, hopefully she's on the call as well. She helped push me along that route. So I want to say thank you to them. They saw something in me, something that I never saw. And that really put a seed in my mind on how that could be so transformative to anybody. Moving along in my career, I've had multiple other mentors that really nurtured my regulatory perspective. One of them was Jenny Anderson. She saw light in me, and she is my regulatory fairy godmother. That's what I call her. She walked through the FDA Act. And then fundamentally to now, I'm with Jackie Peterson, and she's helping me from an executive presence. Minori Carlson. There's so many more wonderful people that have changed my life because of mentorship. I will say, though, I have had hurdles in that, and had mentors and tormentors.
Yes, we'll talk about that in a second. So, Angelina, it seems to me that you have been very fortunate, and it's amazing for me to see you giving back so much to the community. But let's start by first, just saying a few things about why you believe mentoring is so important for our QA/RA colleagues in their career.
Mentoring is the ability to show someone their potential. You need to, as a mentor, take on the role of providing hope to a person that is looking for a beacon of where they want to go in life. So from a regulatory quality perspective, we have multiple people, but I think there needs to be more of that presence, more of that nurturing from a mentorship. And for me, I saw a little bit of lacking on that. Now, I will put a little bit of a plug from RAPS was developing this mentorship program, and I saw them kind of developing it, and it hadn't launched yet. And I saw what they were doing, and I was like, hey, this is really something close to me. I would love to help support you guys. And so we collaborated together. And through that, they launched the RAPS mentorship program last June. I really think that is the infrastructure that many regulatory people can use and feel like they are in a good place to have a positive mentorship experience. So for me, that infrastructure really is like where I would recommend people who are looking for a mentor to start first.
And what I'm hearing you say is that this relationship helps us to kind of support each other at different phases of our career. Guys, so many of you have joined. I want to welcome all of you. And if you're just joining, my guest is Angelina Lisandrelli with years of industry experience in leadership positions. And I'm so excited to have her share her story and also her mentoring and the lessons she has learned. But in the meantime, if you guys have any questions or comments, please share that in the chat. We'll keep an eye on that. What are your challenges in finding a good mentor? And what have you learned? If you have had a good mentoring relationship, please share all that with all of us. So, Angelina, let's continue our conversation. We were just talking about how it might be a little bit challenging. Like you were maybe fortunate that many people saw what the potential in you, and they sort of maybe broke the ice and reached out to you and said, okay, fine, let's do this. But in today's world, all of us are busy. And if someone were to just say, okay, now I need someone to mentor me, how do you recommend that they go about doing that?
Yes. So there's two ways to go about doing that. First of all, if you're ready to take that step, be prepared to do the work. So as a mentor, obviously they're giving you their time. Usually mentors are further along in their career and they need to carve time out for you. But as a mentee, you need to be ready to put the investment. So I say like the RAPS mentorship program, or you can, like many people have reached out to me on LinkedIn. Even before that, I will say I had mentees before I really started to have a presence on LinkedIn, but Newman was one of my first mentees through LinkedIn. And he cold reached out to me and he was like, I'm really looking for some guidance. Let's talk. It wasn't like, please be my mentor immediately. Mm-hmm. Okay, I will carve time out for you. Are you going to come prepared? And I recommend, so those that are looking for a mentor, if you make that reach out, be ready, be prepared, because one, that leaves an impression with this person that they're like, wow, this person's investing in their career and I'm going to invest in them. Mm-hmm. My mentees, and I have 22, 23 of them on a regular. I meet with them half an hour every month, and we are set to be with each other for 1 year. That's my commitment to them, is that they come prepared. Every month, 2 days before we meet, they have a detailed agenda. Here we start out with goals that we're going to achieve. And I keep track of these behind the scenes because as a mentor, I want them to grow. I want to push them. I will push them. If you are one of my mentees, I'm going to push you in the right way. So I'm going to push you out of your fears. I'm going to push you into where you want to go from a trajectory. And if you don't know that trajectory, we'll start finding that out. So as a mentee, I think it's twofold, right? You got to be prepared. And the second part where it's unsaid, you've got to believe in yourself too.
Yeah.
Even a little bit. You don't have to be like, hey, I can go be a CEO tomorrow. No, but I'm really going to invest myself. And that's where I would recommend people just start.
Wonderful. That's great. Now, I'm just curious, first of all, how do you find so much energy? Like 22 people, 30 minutes a month, which is 11 hours. You are spending a lot of time. So tell me a little bit more about what drives you. Where is that drive coming from?
On a caveat, those are the 22, 23 that are on routine. I will say I take ad hoc people, like I take calls all the time. Lately, because of FDA and what's going on, I have been connecting with a lot of people. I'll take calls at 10 o'clock at night. I've had people just, reach out to me 2 or 3 times and I'm like, okay, I'm getting a signal here. They're looking for hope. So where do I get that energy? I think it's like what you put out in the universe is what you get. You do good, I promise you will get good back. No, there are going to be people on the sideline that don't want you to do good. Put a filter on that. The more you have those people in your periphery, trust me, you're doing something right. Why I say that is most people who are on a career progression have to face hurdles, have to face struggles. And if you continue on, I promise it'll reward you. Just, you got to be good. So for me, I put all my energy into my mentees. Anyone that I take into, I see something. I see that they put the energy into themselves. Why not put the energy into them? I mean, I am a go person. I've always been a go-getter. Call it from my background, call it from just sheer gusto. I will outwork people. I will outwork myself. It's not to burn out. This is my passion. That's it. That's what drives me.
I can feel that. And, in today's world where things are kind of seem to be going in a very negative direction, sending so much positive energy out in the universe without expecting any return. I mean, I'm hearing from you. You do this because you want to help people succeed. You want to create a positive change in the world. So Angelina, with that said, I'm sure none of these relationships all the time are smooth and going the way you want them to go. Can you share with us maybe a challenging scenario in a mentoring relationship that you had to navigate? And how did you overcome your own maybe frustrations or maybe sometimes disappointments just to make sure that your mentee continued to progress? How did you do that?
About natural consequences. So there have been times, and some of my mentees, I won't call any of them out, but some of my mentees have faced struggle from their own personal job struggles, from their own personal viewpoint. I've had my own struggles myself with at the job or with relationships. You have to go through it. That's the best way I can say. Go through it, have your feels, but do something with it. Don't let it fester.
Mm-hmm.
Festering causes a derailment. And then, since we're talking about risk, you will sabotage yourself in the end. And that's never something I like to see people do. I have done it. And so as a mentor, I don't want any of my mentees to experience that. But some of that on a little micro scale is actually good progress. It's development, it's growth. But the way you navigate it is, okay, take a step back. What is triggering you? What do you think is the roadblock? And sometimes, if I really get myself worked out or in my head, I say this a lot. I'm a big nerd. I like space. I'll watch one of those YouTube videos, space and black holes and stars. And then you start looking, okay, here's Earth, here's the sun, here's the Milky Way, here's outside the Milky Way, here's a void, here's a giant black hole. Is it that big?
Mm-hmm.
And it brings perspective.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to live a life. We're here to make the most of that life. Make the most of your situation, even if it's negative. Energy is neither created or destroyed. If you have something negative, change it into a positive. What are you learning from it? Progress and move forward.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. Now, we have a question from our audience, from Samir. He's asking, I love sharing great resources to help others, but I worry about oversharing. How can I find the right balance? Or is it okay since it reveals which mentees are truly committed? Do you have any comments on that?
That is something that you have to, I hate to say that all regulatory, it depends. I am been a culprit of oversharing. But you can see the reaction on a person's face. And most of my one-on-ones, if not all of them, I want to see a camera on. I need to see a human at the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling like they're getting the feedback that they need, or are they getting comforted to that? There are some, and I know some people are on here. Even though I carve out half an hour, some of my calls have gone 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That is where oversharing is needed. I want them to feel comfortable. I will not hang up a call if I feel like a person needs that time because it's important. So with respect to oversharing, you have to see that where is your mentee needing you? Do they need reinforcement on feeling comfortable in where they're going? Every meeting I end with, how do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
Every meeting, how do you feel? Do you feel like you're encouraged? Do you feel energized? Do you feel like you can do something different? And if the answer is yes, great. Meeting over. If the answer is no, let's hang on. Let's do it. And so oversharing it is very subjective to who the person you're dealing with. I think it's good and bad. It's all you gotta waver that.
And I guess you also learn through experience to see how to match what you are communicating with what your mentee needs at that point of time. So it's a great point, but I guess it comes from experience. So it looks to me, Angelina, that you have a lot of fans here. We have Sophia sharing that recently met Angelina. She has been incredibly supportive and tireless in her coaching. Incredibly grateful. There are only 3 people on my hand in my life working who have ever been willing to help. She definitely inspires me to mentor others as well and not expect any outcome. So you are making such a big impact. Thank you for the work you're doing, Angelina. Now, one thing that I'm curious about, generally we think that a mentor-mentee relationship is sort of a one-way street, that a mentee is really looking up and receiving and not the other way around. I feel like a mentor can also learn a lot from a mentee. First of all, do you agree with that? And second, have you experienced something that you learned from a mentee that you said, wow, this is something very nice?
I completely agree. My mentees have healed me in ways that they can't imagine. But what I learned is that everybody's on a path, and seeing everybody progress their path in different ways is amazing. For me, what I learn is that they have grit, that they have perseverance, and it's not just one. Everyone is accomplishing goals that, some of them are really above and beyond. I have one mentee that wants to do a TED Talk. I have another mentee that wants to break out of their shell and network. And they're like, I've never really done this. And then they did it and they excelled at it. There's nothing too small, nothing too big. They constantly amaze me. It's just, they just needed someone to help them believe in themselves. And they do believe in themselves. So for me, that's so rewarding. They think that I don't need anything in return, but that is what they give me in return.
And again, I can feel a little bit emotion in your voice, Angelina. Thank you for being a little bit raw and open about this, which is what we love about these conversations. Like, we are connecting in a very human way. Once again, thanks to all the work you're doing. And it's great to acknowledge, what we also receive from every relationship. It's not necessarily transactional, but in my view, it is supportive of each other. That's how I look at it. Does that make sense?
Yes. And there's even something called reverse mentoring. So reverse mentoring is kind of where someone who's in a higher role gets mentored by someone who's in a new role or newly in their career, because it's a two-way street, like you said. You can learn from someone who's doing things. I'll use one example. I was born in 1980. This young person was like showing me their LinkedIn and they had a QR code. And I'm like, where did you get that? I thought I knew a lot about it. And they showed me about a QR code, how you could search, and that's how you can connect with people easily. Simple things like that. I think everybody needs to take away that mask of, just because I reach a director level, just because I'm a VP, I couldn't learn. And in fact, that's where I personally think senior leadership needs to lean in more. You need to be in tune with that kind of signal out there. Not an employee survey. Now, granted, here we go. I'm not against the corporate environment, but not an employee survey. You have one-on-ones with your people. Your one-on-ones are a form of mentorship, and you need to lean into that 100%. There are too many things that you see, and it's a fact. If you do not have great mentorship in your corporate environment, you will see slippage. You will lose great talent. That talent is going to go to places where they feel nurtured, i.e.,
yes.
To me, there needs to be that balance between not only someone new in their career, but someone seasoned in their career.
Yeah. So, guys, I hope you are as excited about this conversation as I am. I'm just really feeling very energized about this. Continue to share your thoughts and comments, especially if you have a question. If you are struggling in your career and you have something to ask Angelina, put that in the chat and I will bring that up. We still have about 10 minutes or so. So please continue having your thoughts and sharing them very broadly. Angelina, let's continue our conversation here. Now, let's admit that people are kind of under this. We work in a culture, honestly, where admitting that you don't know something is seen as sort of a negative. Like, we are expecting people to be vulnerable and open and saying, yeah, I need help. And here's how I can support you. Here's how you can support me. This requires a level of trust and vulnerability. How do you suggest that people overcome that mental block that they will be seen as they don't know what they're talking about if they seek help?
I know it's going to sound counterintuitive. Assume that it's always going to be like that. There will be always one person that's going to judge you. Let them judge you. I don't care. I ask stupid questions, whatever that is, questions, because you know what? By showing that you can ask that question, I guarantee the person that might want to have a question will speak up. As I am adamant about that. I think many of my mentees could say, ask the questions. Don't be afraid. Ignore people that judge you. Keep on persevering on whatever you're doing there. You gotta just tune it out, because throughout your life, there's going to be always people that will judge. That's the first. Everyone that goes through this year with me will overcome that aspect. Secondly, if you ask a question, you could potentially be avoiding a risk in a project, in your own personal career. Mm-hmm. It's just you have to find it in yourself to just tune it out and say the question, because I guarantee there's probably 3 or 4 people at that same moment asking that same question to themselves.
Mm-hmm. Got you. Great. So we have a question here from Seren. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but the question is what to look for in a mentor, and when did Angelina feel quote unquote qualified? to become a mentor?
I will say some days I don't feel qualified to be a mentor. That's my own personal kind of strife. But I think where you feel that you are qualified as a mentor and it comes from within 100%. Do you have this passion to see people succeed from an altruistic standpoint? That's key. The second thing is, it is important to share information. Information knowledge is the opportunity for people to expand. It is a currency of trajectory from call it a power standpoint, call it from ability to do your job better. So the mentor, you have to nurture that. And then 2, you have to have some emotional EQ here. You cannot be like, oh, I will tell you this. There's some mentors that I have questions about that. You have to be fundamentally a human at heart and give. It is about servitude. It's about empowerment. It's about telling someone you have the potential, but if you do not have those qualities that are authentic, they will not believe in you, and they definitely won't believe in themselves.
So actually what I'm hearing you say is that you need to have the right passion, right emotion to be a mentor. It's not a qualification. And from that point of view, anyone can be a mentor, right? Correct. You don't have to go to college and get a degree or a certification in that. And the second thing I'm hearing you say is that it is not about performance or a power play. It is more about trying to help each other, right? That's what I'm hearing you say. Okay, we have a question from Lavanya, a counterintuitive question. How did you gracefully navigate poor mentorship management at work?
Hi, Lavanya. She's one of my mentees. That's a good one. How did I manage it? The first time I experienced it, not well at all. I hit every bump in the road. I was very emotional about it. I took it in as too personal. I think where the feedback I could give here is, and what I've learned is, stop taking it personal. Some people's insecurities are projected out onto you. And especially if you're a guiding light, if you have some sort of spark inside of you, unfortunately, people want to be drawn to that. How could they not?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So the way you navigate that is you have to find that resilience within inside of you to go, I know what I'm doing is right. I know where I want to go. I have positive intent. And especially in regulatory, patient's the forefront, bottom line. So if this, with regard to patient safety, or you have to navigate something that you stand 10 toes down, that's it. No wavering to that.
So here's another very interesting question from Kristen, and this is similar to Lavanya's. In your experience, what is the best first step to leave a job with poor mentorship or management in place? That's a very interesting question. Do you have any comments on that?
And this is another one of my mentees. And now I'm going to plug one of Kristen's goals. Naveen, you should have Kristen on your show one of these days.
Well, Kristen, so you're on the spot now, okay? But
right, 25.
It's such a low stress, Kristen. Please reach out to me. I'll be delighted to talk to you guys. It is a very casual conversation. So go ahead. We don't want to put you on the spot, Kristen, but reach out.
Ready. I will say as a mentor, she's ready to go. Okay. So how do you leave? So first and foremost, you got to be used to navigating this. So as you go further in your career, you can't be automatically the first time you have negative feedback, or not negative, but actually feedback. You need to really take it to heart and go, okay, I'm going to take this feedback and improve on. But let's say you're in a bad situation, and I'm all about psychological safety. You got to lean on people in your circle. You got to lean on your family, or you got to lean on friends, or even other mentors, because I don't believe you should just have one, to get perspective. Because sometimes is it coming from your rose-colored glasses, or maybe rose-colored, maybe they're just completely blue blockers, or is it coming from a place of, yeah, really, this is not a good situation? Those people will empower you to find solutions. So I see my friend Jeannie on here. She is a great recruiter for Petros. They do recruiting. So I recommend, if you are in that situation, you reach out to Jeannie Hayes and her husband, Michael, and they will help. But there's lots of good people out there that you need to bounce on. But first I always tell them, write it down, write the pros, write the cons. Let's talk about it at our next meeting. And then, as a mentor, I sponsor a lot of people. Sponsorship's key, but you got to know the person. I don't like the sponsorship where like, hey, I have Joe somebody that has been buddies with me, and just because I know them and because they're in a high role, I'm going to make a connection. I'll tell you, you'll see corporations get impacted by that.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, we have run out of time, as always. It has been a fascinating conversation, but here's what I want to ask you. If you would like a longer conversation on this topic, give a vote or put a comment there in the chat. We want to hear from you. We want to be respectful of your time. That's why we're going to end it in 30 minutes, as we always do. But I can see that there's a lot of conversation around this topic. So if you are interested, let me know in your comments in the chat that you would like a longer conversation on this. So I'm going to give Angelina a couple of minutes to just summarize these ideas in 2 or 3 key takeaway points. In the meantime, I'm going to share with you some announcements. The first one is, guys, if you're joining this for the first time, we do this Let's Talk Risk conversation every Friday at 11 Eastern on LinkedIn. So just put it on the calendar. If you like these types of conversations, both technical and personal, that can help you in your career, please show up. And I'm going to tell you, next week, I'm going to have a great conversation with Dr. Mark Rubinstein. He's going to come and tell us a clinician's view on medical devices and diagnostics from a risk and safety point of view. Now, we don't get to hear from our colleagues in the medical profession as much. So this could be a great conversation for you. Please show up. The announcement has already gone out. And secondly, very quickly, I want to tell you guys about my post-market surveillance workshop. If you are interested in building your skills in post-market surveillance from a regulatory perspective, from a data analysis perspective, signal detection perspective, and most importantly, if you are a leader and are trying to set up a post-market surveillance process that works for you, not just for compliance, but also productivity and efficiency, if it works for you, come by, because I'm going to share with you my personal experience building these systems and running them for 2 years. One of you is asking if this is every Friday or just some Fridays. No, it is every Friday. Every Friday at 11 Eastern. Put it on your calendar. With that, Angelina, I'm going to invite you to share just maybe 2 or 3 key takeaway points.
I think maybe not so much points, but, I hear that people are interested in more. I'd be happy to talk about how to do a proper mentoring program, what I do with my mentees. It's very structured. I would also, invite, if people are interested, I'd like to teach them about LinkedIn and their resume. So we could expand this longer and make it a series.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I want to lead people away with this. You have everything that you possess right now. There are people out there that want to be a good mentor, that are excited, that are energized by people who want to progress. Don't be afraid. Push through that. Challenge that fear. Reach out to people. And if they don't answer you, don't worry about it. Move it on to the next one. If you're really trying to really get structured, I recommend people to go to RAPS, the mentorship program there. There's MedTech Color. There's also MedTech Women. There's multiple organizations, but you got to put yourself out there. And like I said, be ready to share your story and put the work in there. You put the work, guarantee you're going to see results, and all the best. And if anybody has questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm very quick to reply.
Wonderful, Angelina. I'm sure a lot of people will be reaching out to you, but guys, here's what I will tell you. Please be respectful of Angelina's time. If you're reaching out to her, make sure you have thought through what it is that you're looking for. Be a little bit more clear and specific about your request. But as you can see, Angelina is so willing and really committed to helping everybody in the community. So I hope you build these connections. And also I will tell you, there are close to about 65 people who have attended this live conversation. We have a community here. Reach out to all of us, each one of us, because as we said, anyone can be a mentor. So build these connections. I'm so excited. Angelina, I want to thank you so much for coming onto the show, sharing your personal stories, your experiences as a mentor. You're doing such great work. I really want to thank you. Thanks to all of you who showed up today and participated in this conversation. And I wish all of you the very best in your careers. Become part of this community and let's help each other out. So thank you again, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
And we will see you once again next week.